Hello everybody, my name is Jay. I'm one of the expert IELTS teachers here at E2 Language. What we're going to do in this live class is look at IELTS Writing Task 2. This applies to both general and academic. And I'm going to give you some top tips so you can score 8 or more in vocabulary. So on test day, you're going to be graded on your writing on 4 things. And one of those things is called lexical resource. And it's scored between 0 and 9. Lexical resource is just another word for vocabulary. So what we're going to focus on in this live class is vocabulary, and more specifically, we're going to look at vocabulary range, and we're going to look at vocabulary precision, because they're kind of 2 parts of the one thing that you need to be aware of, right? So let's start with vocabulary range. What I want you to do is tell me what is wrong with this paragraph. So this paragraph is perfectly accurate in terms of its grammar. It's right on topic, but it would score poorly for vocabulary because this author has written the word lying, lying, lies, lie, lies many times. In a single word, what they've done is they have repeated a particular keyword, and you need to try to avoid doing this, because if you do repeat particular words, the highest score you can get for vocabulary will be 6, and that will bring down your overall average. So we need to think about how to fix it. I'm going to give you 30 seconds, and I want you to think of particular synonyms or different words that have the same meaning that you could use to replace these repeated words. Okay, so instead of lying, you could say deceiving someone. Instead of lie, you could say distort the truth. Or instead of lies, plural noun, you could say fabrications. So the first tip, and this is extremely important, is that you should use synonyms where possible to vary your vocabulary. Lying could become deceiving. Lie as a verb could be distort the truth. Lies, plural noun, could become fabrications. You could even turn lie into not tell the truth into a negative that would still be considered a synonym. So it's just a different way to say the same thing, but you need to make sure it's precise. Let me elaborate on that. You need to be careful, okay? So let's talk about vocabulary precision, the second half of this. What's wrong with this paragraph here? What's wrong with this paragraph is that the particular synonyms this writer has used are imprecise. Schools and kindergartens and colleges are different things. They're related to education, they're institutes, but they have very different meanings. Food, nourishments, and solids just sounds really strange. They are sort of synonymous, but they're really not at the same time. These are very imprecise. Children and infants and teenagers are different things. They're all people, they're all young people, but they all have specific meanings that in this context are unrelated to each other. These are imprecise synonyms, and I can tell you I've seen a lot of IELTS writing, and I see a lot of people use particular words that they think are synonyms, but they're just not quite precise and they sound weird. So that would also reduce your score. So tip number 2 here is that some words have no direct synonym. For example, a word like children, well, I guess you could say young people, but that's not very precise. Food, what's a synonym for food? Or school, you could say institute, but that's imprecise. What about obese? Well, you could say fat, but that's kind of non-technical and a little bit informal. So if this happens and on test day you find yourself repeating words and thinking, uh-oh, I can't think of a synonym for this particular word, then you need to do this. What have I done in this paragraph? What I've done is I've taken the keyword like schools and I've used a plural pronoun, they, and I've also used words like school canteens to be more precise. For a word like food, I've said types of food, I've said food options, and then I've just left out the word food and said more varied options, which is also fine. For the word obesity, I've created a phrase here to put on weight. Okay, so you can do it. So tip number 3 is, if there is no direct synonym, you need to rewrite the sentence. For example, you can write children, you can turn that into students and be more specific. Food can become options because it references food. Schools can use a pronoun like they. Schools could also use school canteens or school cafeterias to be more specific. And the word obese, you could use a phrase like putting on weight, for example. So there is a way around it when you can't quite find the right synonym, okay? All right, so far we've boosted our score up to about 7.5. That's pretty good. But what we want to do is push it up to 8, 8.5, or even 9. So how do we do that? We do that by using uncommon words, but you need to be really careful here. You need to do this well. And what I want to alert you to is some conspiracy theories. There is some junk on YouTube. Be careful of the videos you watch on YouTube. I've seen a number of videos saying, use these 3 words to boost your IELTS writing score. That's nonsense. That's not going to happen. You do need to use uncommon words, but they need to be completely related to the topic on which you're writing. Okay? Let me explain in more detail. But before I do, make sure you click the subscribe button, hit like, leave a comment, and share this video with your friends if you think it's good. Okay, tip number 4. You need to try to use some uncommon words, not lots, not heaps, just some. Words like dietary patterns, sedentary lifestyles, health epidemic, combat obesity, prevention. These are all words related to the topic of obesity or health for children, for example. Now, I would only use these words because they are related to the topic, only because they fit. All right, here's a paragraph that uses high vocabulary, between 8 and 9. And what I want to draw your attention to is the fact that they are not individual single words. Often when we talk about vocabulary, we're talking about phrases, not necessarily single words. Because in order to write well in English, you need to use these phrases, these collocations, these natural sounding expressions, right? So let me read this one to you. Childhood obesity is a persistent health issue that can be partly attributed to the ways in which schools cater to their students. It is well known, there's an error there, it is well known that cafeteria menus are seldom healthy, more often than not contain food items that are high in saturated fats. and sugars. If schools were to overhaul their menus in favor of less calorie-dense foods, there would no doubt be a decrease in the number of young people suffering from overweight issues. This is good vocabulary. It's good because many of those words are uncommon, but they're directly related to that specific topic in the essay question. I haven't repeated words. I've used a range of synonyms and phrases, okay? So that would push my score for vocabulary into the range of 8 and 9. So let's recap the vocabulary top tips that we've learned in this lesson. Number 1, you should use synonyms where possible. Don't repeat specific keywords. Number 2, some words have no direct synonym. If that's the case, then number 3, you need to rewrite the sentence and think about using pronouns, think about using phrases, think about using a negative in order to express that meaning in a different way, okay? And number 4, you should try to use some uncommon words if they are directly related to the question prompts. Cool bananas. Guys, if you need help with your IELTS, check out e2language.com. It's 100% online test preparation. How it works is like this. It's pretty cool. So in the middle here, we have a platform, e2language.com, where we have overviews, methods lessons, practice questions, mock tests, grammar lessons, etc. Then from there, you can book one-on-one tutorials with expert IELTS teachers for your writing, speaking, or reading. You can also join the daily live group classes with everybody else, and you can submit your writing and speaking for feedback. So if you need help with your IELTS, check out www.e2language.com. You can sign up for free. Thanks very much for watching. I hope that was helpful, and don't forget to subscribe. See you soon.